Hi there, friends. It's Simone. Thank you so much for joining me for another Hobonichi Weeks journal with me. I am all set to go. Journaling week number one, which is really weird. It's like January 4th, but it's week number one. Whatever. Um, I have pulled out this, I don't know the name. It is a Cocoa Daisy free printable um, something about social distancing. I think they provided it last summer, sometime around then, and I do love the whimsical creations that Arlie, the very first original designer of all the planner kits, um, creates. And so whenever they bring out or put out stuff that she made, um, I'm all for it. I This just suits my style so well. I love those whimsical creatures. Um, that's kind of my style. So why not use it? But the problem was I didn't. So it was in my stash for a while, and so I decided to put it into one of those slots in my Muji folder that I told you about last week. I put in new things that I get in Happy Mail, be it friends, be it purchased by myself, or Patreon, which I also pay for, um, and just put it into a slot so that I make sure I use it pretty soon after I get it, because that is part of the joy. I really like using the things that I get, and I don't want to keep on doing what I have been doing for a long time, getting new stuff, putting it into my stash because maybe I want to hoard it, maybe I'm too afraid to use it, um, and make it work. Make it work because sometimes when you get something in your mail, you're not right there to be able to use it, and so I really like the challenge of using the things. You know me. I'm always there for a challenge. And so that is what I did, and I put that bird in there, and then in my December Patreon Happy Mail I received this transparent leaf sticker, and I thought it worked really well with that owl. And so that's what I used. And the funny thing is, I would have used it whenever it came up as being next, but it worked really well because this specific week was my first week back after a 1 week off. So it wasn't really that much, but it felt like a break. I took several days off work, and so Monday, the January 4th, was my first day back. And yes, I had to mask up and I had my coffee. So I thought it was super fitting for that week. Um, I am, since I'm only documenting or creating in this Hobonichi Weeks 1 day every week, um, I decided I needed a place where I would be able to summarize the events of the day. And yes, I could use my planner for this. However, I am not really documenting the to dos in this Hobonichi Weeks. It is more about the joy that every day brought to me, and sometimes that's not most of the time. That is not the same as what I did. Sometimes it is, but not always. Sometimes it's something funny my kids say. Sometimes it's just a feeling that I have. And um, I have found now that I'm doing this for a while that yes, sitting down for 5 minutes at the end of each day, making this a habit gives a different look on the day than my planner and my to-do list. So, and that is where I want to take my main focus from There's nothing wrong with documenting to-dos and documenting the mundane, which many of the items on this list are mundane things, but there always is one tiny thing that is different and that made this day special. And I want to make sure I give myself room to actually be able to write it down because really, if I'm sitting down, I haven't done so. This is week 1. We are currently in week 3. I'm doing voiceover Friday. Um, I haven't documented week 2 yet, but I know that I will be able to convey the week, each how each day felt because I have the reference um, in this just super simple, written down very not very nicely or anything. It's just pen on this monthly view in my Hobonichi cousin. And I have to say, I really like the space that this gives me. It's not too much, but it's quite generous. If you use each and every line to fill it up, it gives it's exactly the space that I need, and it is exactly what also then fills works in that weekly spread. So, what I do when I journal my week in this Hobonichi Weeks is wow, that was really perfect grammar to be, yes, A plus, plus, plus. I create the embellishment cluster on the right. And then I take out my watercolors and write not always the highlight, but what I think I would like to put in watercolor. And sometimes it also depends on how many words I need to document the specific thing. So it's not always the biggest part or the highlight of the day. And then I take the colors that I choose, and that's where I'm trying to go with this, is derived from the colors that I used in the cluster. And so this week is quite orangey. I'm trying to find the right blue green, dark blue green gray. I have some yellow and orange from the circle in the bottom, and then some other greens and brown, obviously, from the owl. And that's what I put down here. And this week was actually really full. So I added in the watercolor. Then I realized that I really need to, if I want to use stickers, I need to go in with the stickers then because since they're all differently shaped, all different sizes, if I add the handwriting then, there is no more room for any stickers. Um, I just try to spread them out evenly and see what kind of stickers I have. And for instance, for Saturday, I didn't even put one single sticker. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be that many stickers. Sometimes I use other ones. It's just, I do love these whimsical planner stickers that some people use for planning. I did too, but I just love using them to document my days. And that's exactly what I do. Um, I use different kinds of fonts, not very elaborate ones. So I sometimes write everything in all caps. Sometimes I thicken the strokes, like the excited here. I thicken the downstrokes because it kind of looks like calligraphy, hand lettering. I'm I I actually am quite satisfied with the way my handwriting looks, so I'm not trying to emulate somebody else's handwriting. I'm just sometimes when because something is more important than something else, I want to stress that by the way that I'm writing it down. Um, yeah. So what happened in the first full week of January? My kids still had 1 day left of break. So the Monday I had to go back to work, but my boys, they actually, the two younger ones, which younger, they're not toddlers anymore. My youngest is turning 12 in March. My middle one is 14. Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. Um, and they had a bunk bed, but it actually broke over Christmas. So we needed to find a solution, and we purchased two beds, one for each of them. And so they had to declutter their room. And that's what they did on that Monday. Um, I, my middle one, not my middle one. What am I talking about? My youngest. He is taking on the cooking and baking, so that's something that we did that I documented stuff. I document my wins and losses, and it just makes me feel super happy. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.